Welcome to the December 15th regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. If you can take a moment to silence your cell phones and then join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jen, can you take roll for us, please?
President Roush.
Here.
Secretary Ringgold is here. Trustee Blasey.
Here.
Trustee Craig.
Here.
Trustee Horowitz. Present. Vice President McFarland and Treasurer Lauterbach are absent, but we do have a quorum.
Thanks. Move to the consent agenda. Item 2.1, our approval of the minutes from the November 17th regular meeting and the November 17th, 2025 closed session. Item 2.2, recommendation for hire for the staff members listed in your agenda packet. Item 2.3 are resignations as listed in your agenda packet. Item 2.4, approval of the payment of the school system's bills for the month of October 2025 as listed in the check registers prepared by Lori Holderby in the amount of $13,121,638 is recommended. The distribution of obligations by fund is included in the documentation. And finally, item number 2.5 are legal payments. Approval is requested to authorize the legal payments to the below list of professional legal fees as listed in your agenda packet. I have a motion for item 2.1 through 2.5.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Horowitz, support by Ringgold. Any discussion or questions? All in favor of approving item 2.1 through 2.5, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Best part of the night, as always, item 3.1, Shining Stars.
Good evening. As always, we have two amazing team members that we're recognizing tonight, and we will start with our first, Sarah Godfrey-Williams. Hi. Welcome. Thank you. Come stand right here next to me. Thank you. All right, here we go. Sarah's MPS journey started with us in 2024 when she was hired as a first grade teacher at Woodcrest Elementary, which is the position she currently holds with the district. Sarah earned her degree in early childhood education from Northern Michigan University. Aren't you glad you're here? Because they have a lot of snow up there.
It's very
now.
cold. Colder than here, shockingly.
Sarah was nominated for her Shining Star by MPS parents and colleagues, and among their comments are the following. You are always so calm and inviting. You care for each student, and you are always willing to meet with parents if they have questions about their child's education. This particular parent says that my daughter has only good things to say about being in class, and she loves you so much. Sarah is incredibly deserving of this award. She's caring, loving, and an inclusive teacher who brings out the best in each student. She's exceptionally patient and creates a classroom environment where all students feel safe, valued, and truly loved, end quote. Sarah's students thrive academically because she believes in them and they feel it. And that's really important that they feel it. Her classroom is warm, welcoming, and open to all students. Sarah leads by example every day. Her colleagues look up to her for her kindness, professionalism, and unwavering dedication. We are so lucky to have her. And we feel the same, that we're lucky to have you at Midland Public Schools. Congratulations on being a Shining Star. You are welcome to go shake hands with the board. Our second shining star is Abby Lemmon. Oh, you can clap louder than that. I saw the little quiet claps back there. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, come stand here and we'll read about you. Abby, her MPS journey began in 2024 when she was hired as a paraprofessional at Sieber Elementary, where you currently reside as a bulldog. Abby earned her bachelor's in science at Grand Valley State University and, interestingly, is a graduate from Dow High School. Welcome back. You were nominated for your Shining Star also by parents and colleagues, and among their comments are the following. Abby, you go above and beyond every single day. You are assigned to support one student, but you support so many more. You look for opportunities to support each student in the classroom. You are dedicated to helping students achieve their academic IEP goals, researching new ways and approaches to learning when traditional techniques aren't working for the students who are in your care. You advocate for students, making sure they receive exactly what they need to be successful. And here's a quote from a parent. My daughter has Down syndrome, and Abby supports her in the classroom. Abby's commitment to understanding my daughter's strengths, challenges, and learning style has made an extraordinary difference in my daughter's growth and confidence. Her individualized support allows my daughter to thrive while also contributing to the entire success of the classroom environment. Abby's patience, dedication, and genuine care shine through in everything she does. She's truly deserving of this recognition, and we are deeply grateful for her impact on my daughter and our entire school community. And we also feel the same. Thank you for being an awesome teammate, and congratulations on your Shining Star.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome to go say hello to you.
Thank you, Sarah and Abby, for all that you do.
And you are welcome to scoot out. You're welcome to stay. You're also welcome to scoot out.
Next on the agenda is item 3. Next on our agenda is item 3.2, our Superintendent Student Advisory Team. Penny.
Yep, get the test. This is forward and the other one's back. This one is forward. Oh, got it. And then go back to the beginning. All right.
Okay, hi everybody. We are all representatives from the Student Superintendent Advisory Team. My name is Angelina. I'm currently a senior at high school, and I will be introducing kind of the background of the team. So the team started in 2023, and it is made of a combination of Dow High, Midland, and PATH students. So we have a very diverse representation of the entire student body, and we go beyond the visible diversity. We represent a lot of different dimensions of diversity. So we have students who have different interests or academic paths or different levels of involvement in the school community, different clubs, or just different preferences for how they spend their time. And this really is really demonstrated in all of our discussions, where we never have a question where everybody has the same exact ideas, or everybody is never in agreement. So this is a very cool way where we're able to really discuss and brainstorm. And we are facilitated by Kathy Snyder from the Wellbeing Coalition, and she helps us do our icebreakers and really be productive throughout the meeting. We meet once a month, and the location alternates between Midland High and Dow High. And our mission when we were founded was to really provide a student perspective on issues that we see in our district, and also broader nationwide issues that are common across many school districts. And a lot of our conversation topics are decided by the students based off of a discussion we have at the beginning of the year, where we talk about what things really matter to us and what things we want to really work on and focus on this year. So some topics that we have discussed so far include student engagement and voice, facility input, different strategic planning input, mental health, and safety. So these are issues that a lot of our students are really passionate about and really have a lot of experiences that they would like to share and help in the board to kind of improve or just brainstorm on. And the purpose behind our entire team really is to engage in meaningful dialogue and to amplify the student voice within our district, because everybody has a lot of great ideas and sometimes we're not sure of the best way to share them. So being part of this team is a really great way to collect all of these different perspectives and be able to share them effectively with administration. And we really focus on exchanging ideas and overall improving the student experience through getting input and also being able to collaborate with administrators.
Hello, my name is Katie Kai, and I'm a sophomore at Dow. And so together, SSAT brainstormed a list of ideas of MPS's strengths from our perspective as high school students, so we can be more effective in taking on issues in our districts, as well as keeping on excelling in the areas that we do excel in now. And so first off, our district is really strong in academics, so we provide a range of educational paths, including the PASS program, career and technical education programs, dual enrollment, and the IB and AP programs. We also have a variety of classes ranging in both subject and academic intensity, so students can take whatever class they want and explore whatever subject they want to. On top of that, we have strong sports and music programs, as well as art programs that help foster students' passion and skill in these areas. And additionally, we have a variety of clubs, opportunities, and programs, so each student can find a community of other students who have the same common interests as them. Besides academics, teachers, staff, and administration are always willing to care and support students so they succeed. Graduates are well prepared for whatever path they decide to take after high school, and building on top of that, students are always supported in their mental health and well-being. And finally, students are able to learn in an environment that is welcoming and encouraging. Diversity is valued, and students feel a sense of belonging in our schools. One SSAT member brought up in a conversation that Midland High has prayer rooms for Muslim students to respect them and their religion. And overall, there's an investment from both staff and students to increase the student engagement and voice in our schools, which leads to our next slide.
Hi, my name is Brady Miette. I am a junior at Midland High School, and I'm excited to share the impact we are making here at MPS. A way we are showing impact is facility planning. So our team had the opportunity to put our inputs in when it was facility planning last year, and we were able to give our perspectives to the Board of Education. Also, we are working on student advisory teams at both high schools. So during our last meeting, we talked about adding student advisory teams to each school. Instead of doing it as a big group, we separate it at the school level, and we can talk about what each school needs, basically. And then our Board of Education connections. So the members attended a session last year to hear our perspectives and what we thought could change within the district. And then our strategic planning. So our input was gathered, and the district was inspired to gather input in both elementary and middle schools. And then also last year, we talked about improving mental health. So we had an amazing person, Amanda Sherry, come and speak to our group and just talked about like mental health resources people have. She gave us a nice graphic and just showed us all the things we have mental health wise. And then our input led to improved messaging to students and parents. So we've changed our communication from then. So thanks for listening to our presentation. Do we have any questions, answers, discussion time?
Can I just chime in quick while you're thinking of the questions you have? Thank you, all three of you. This represents, as you know, several years of dialogue with our team. And I couldn't be more proud of the fact that these students come together. Often they don't know each other, even when they are in the same school. And we've had some really good discourse. As Angelina said, we don't always agree on topics, but they are so professional and appropriate in the ways in which they engage in dialogue and discourse and even debate sometimes, and incredibly proud that even after those sometimes heated conversations, we all still walk away knowing that we're a team. And don't we want that for everyone in our community? We referenced that board members came to one of our meetings. Last year, we had John and Scott joined the group for a bit of time, and that was really insightful for them to learn a little bit more about how the board operates and for you all to share insights for them. And I just wanted to share that overwhelmingly, the 25 students on this team want to engage with the Board of Education. One of their key recommendations was to have a student representative on the board. And I brought that idea to the Administrative Services Study Committee for study. And as we really discussed this and discussed what it would look like to have a student sitting here alongside of us, I was really proud of how we recognized that that wouldn't actually be the kind of impact that these students want to have. As you know, you're not an elected representative, you're not involved in the committee structure, and what you all really want is to have influence and impact. So we are thankful for your willingness, board, to hear from these students. I believe there's a commitment for them to come back on a regular cadence, maybe as frequently as every other month. So today was meant to be just that opening conversation to share the history. We have quite a list of topics, as Angelina and Katie and Brady shared, that we're very passionate about, and we'd like to bring those forward for actual dialogue in the future. So what questions do you have for these three representatives?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate each of you coming to speak to us. I know it's not easy and probably a little nerve-wracking, but thank you for your input. One of the things that really resonated with me was how quickly in the presentation you each recognized that Midland Public tries to really prepare students in whatever pathway that they take. You mentioned our CTE programs, IB, AP, paths, and really that diversity of our educational opportunities for our students. Is there anything through your discussions that we're missing?
I think one of the things that we talked about in our discussions was kind of a organized or simple way for students to really express their thoughts or opinions. Of course, there's a lot of options, like maybe talking to your principals or talking to your teachers, but a lot of students, they don't really know what exactly is the best way to really go about providing feedback or even trying to start brainstorming different ideas for how they can maybe make the classroom a better place or the district. So I think having kind of a place like this where we're able to really exchange dialogue and have discussions is very important, and also making sure we can increase the communication and expand kind of this spirit we have here to the rest of the student body, especially for those who have a lot of ideas but might not know what the best way to speak up about it is.
Thank you.
So I have a question. As you all have come together as a team, right? You mentioned the list of things, the different diverse backgrounds. I'm curious if there's something that you've learned while being on the Superintendent Student Advisory Team that you didn't know before you started working with this group.
I guess I can be like completely honest. Before joining SSAT, I did not know that MPS had a PATHS program for students who want their own personalized academics through like e-learning. And so it just opened my eyes, and like I saw how many opportunities that our district gives us, but like sometimes we don't like put in the effort to go look for those opportunities, or those opportunities are really shown to us.
Thank you.
So is this group going to get an opportunity in the whole process before the process is done to meet with Stephen and GMB and his group? Because I think they deserve a meeting.
I think that's a great idea. During our last facility planning session, we did use one of our monthly meetings to discuss facility needs, and we had some really good input from this team. We did that recently with strategic planning, and Leanne Keller came over and facilitated a session with them. And we absolutely intend, when that time comes, to have version 2 of our facility conversation. And some of it came up in strategic planning. The thing I really love is, like, we have an agreement that we just need to speak the truth, and it's not going to hurt my feelings. Like, we need to know the truth about what's happening and what's not happening. And we already have a few nuggets about facilities, like natural light and more windows is a key theme among this group and the others we talked to. So directly, yes, we'll do that for sure.
Great.
Anything else?
I have a quick question in common. I really appreciate the feedback about having a way for students to share their input and communicate to the district. Have you guys discussed, or do you have thoughts on the most effective ways for the district to communicate with students and to get messages and information out to students?
I think recently, especially like the social media push has been very effective. I know sometimes students aren't always checking their emails, but I know whenever we get like emails from whether like the principal or if like it's like the superintendent like newsletter, I feel like I get that very well, and I'm constantly checking my email, so I know for a group of students that's probably already effective. But I know recently, especially in this past year, Instagram has been really effective. I've been seeing MPS posts pop up on my feed a lot, so I think that using social media is a very effective way, and especially for the younger kids, probably finding out ways we can really contact and stay in touch with parents. That way the parents can kind of pass down the message to the younger kids would be effective.
This was a
Mr. Cochran and Ms. Sherman need their own TikTok channels.
I was actually going to say this was an eye-opener for me to hear that when we had our mental health session, for example, the fact that most of our students didn't know that we had certain supports in place, despite our best attempts to share that. So I suspect we're going to have communication as one of our sessions and invite Katie over to join us and kind of dig into what we can do to do better there. I just want to give a quick shout out to Kathy Snyder. We mentioned her in our slides. Early on, Kathy was very excited to join our team as a facilitator. And it's very intentional, not only because she's great at facilitating and loves students as a former teacher, but it allows me to actually sit at the table with students and be part of the conversation. We do a lot of individual reflection, small group dialogue, and then whole group processing. And it's been really helpful for me to not facilitate and try to be part of that. So thank you to Kathy for that. Similarly, Principal Sherman and Principal Cochran are in the audience tonight here to support our students. And just a big thanks to them to go down this road. It was important that this team be established in a way that recognized we were looking for insights at the district level to help us be better and do better. And selfishly, I miss interacting with students also, and this is a great monthly opportunity for that. But we really wanted to be careful that it didn't feel like we were working around them, but rather with them. They've both attended numerous sessions over the last couple of years. And I think we hit a really important point at our last meeting when there's this mutual agreement that we still want to be together as a district level team, but change really is best sparked at the high school level with the collaborative leadership of our principals. And so they both have committed, as you heard tonight, to forming a version of this at the school level that will still sort of stay connected to the district team. And we're really excited to see where that's going to go.
So I'm not going to ask you to let all the cats out of the bag, but it sounds like there are some themes that might be arising within your conversations. Communication is one of them. Can you guys give us a sneak peek as to what maybe one or two of the other themes may be?
Yeah, I can take this one really quick. So I think one of our other topics that are very high in our meeting is safety overall. So like during our meetings, a lot of the time we talk about like safer ways we can be and like how to make our schools safer. So by example, I think the Evolve system, when I first think of safety, it's the first thing you do when you walk in the front of the building. I'm not discouraged by it, but like sometimes when people come in early in the morning, for example, at like our schools, like they're not always screened because admin's not always there to screen people because it's not like the official let's let the students in time. So I think that like safety sometimes is an issue because you never know who's going to bring what into the school. And then also like when teachers go through the scanners, I never see them get checked, but like I think of it like teachers are like students in that kind of way. And like teachers could bring anything into a school too. So that's just my thought.
It's been insightful to hear the students at that level of detail and to understand that, you know, safety, the humans involved in the system are the most important factor over any system that we have. So, yeah, I do agree safety will be one of our topics moving forward in communications. Katie or Angelina, do you have some other topic that you know has bubbled up a couple times?
I think in general, like student voice and how we're able to really engage the people who might not currently be really involved. I think something we have been really focused on brainstorming ways is just like connecting with people who might not really always be like attending clubs or other extracurriculars. So really engaging the unengaged and finding ways where we can really invite everybody to be a part of like the MPS community. I think that was one of our big topics as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you again for coming and presenting to us. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Next on the list is item 3.3, high school athletics update from Mr. Schwedler and Mr. Sergent.
Good
Welcome.
evening. I'm not in the gym tonight, so that's a good thing. So I'm here with you guys. Just wanted to recap, my first fall as well as our fall sports at Dow High, and what a fall it was. So just gonna go through a lot of highlights. A lot of these are on the slide that we can look at too, but I'll just touch on the main ones. So looking at our football team, they had a tremendous season, historic season, finished 10-2, puts us, I believe there's only been 6 or 7 other teams that have had 10 wins in Dow High football history. Finished second in the North to Mount Pleasant, who made it down to the finals. We were the city champions. Now, I was the home team, or we were the home team, so I look forward next year to being the visiting team for that one. But no, that was being my first, a fun environment, great environment. I think we had around 6,000 people at that game, so, and a drone. So anyway, we got rid of that thing. Our team competed for a regional championship, coming up short to Orchard Lake St. Mary's, who won the state title in Division II. That was the first time in Dow High history hosting a regional championship. So we had 8 home games at Community Stadium this year. So that was pretty cool. And then along with our individual accolades for All-State. Moving on to our volleyball season, team competed, had a tough district loss up in Cadillac. We had a 3rd-team All-Stater, and one thing that really stands out about our volleyball team is they were an academic All-State team with a 4.23 GPA. So that's as a team. So very, very cool. A lot of good kids, smart kids on our volleyball team. Our sideline season, when you talk about energy, enthusiasm, and getting Mr. Cochran to dance, that's how you do it with our sideline cheerleaders. They were fantastic. They were fantastic this year. They also brought in, ran a cheer clinic and bussed the girls over to compete or to perform at one of our football games. And just, kept a great environment, kept our students engaged, and, had a lot of fun. And then more fun, you add in our POM team. Great routines, being a part of our band at the games, engaged the crowd, performed with the youth, I believe at the Midland game it was. So just growing our numbers in POM and cheer, really skyrocketing. And to note, with both teams, there's winter competition as well for POM and sideline cheer, which becomes competitive cheer. If you ever make it to one of those, the best part about competitive cheer is everyone's happy. Everyone's cheering. So can't beat that. Can't beat that. Our boys tennis team, what a year. Third in the state. The regional champs. We did have our four doubles as four double state champions. Coach Terry Schwarzkopf was the Bob Stoppert Coach of the Year. And we had some SVL MVP and some all-state athletes as well. One thing to note, and Taylor and I were just kind of talking about it, with tennis, MHSA housed the finals at the Midland Tennis Center. So we worked with them. Tennis Center was great, and there was 2 weeks of championship tennis at the Tennis Center. A lot of good reviews. We went in there a couple times, and it was shoulder to shoulder, and it was bad weather, so we were very thankful that they could play inside. So we'll have more meetings with MHSA, but the plan right now is to keep our boys and girls tennis finals at the Tennis Center and in Midland. Our boys cross-country team, we gained a lot of athletes this year. We were over 30, an improvement type year. A lot of PRs, a lot of improvement times, so a lot of kids coming back and gaining participation in cross-country. So we look to keep competing and getting better. Girls cross-country finished second in the SVL. We had Emily Garces, who was SVL champion, finished fourth at the States, and then was recently in San Diego competing at a national competition. So she is, cruising right along. Our boys soccer team, first district title in 7 years, I believe it was. We lost in the regionals to the eventual state champion, Portage Central. We had the SVL Player of the Year, other honorable mention, all-staters. And what was really cool about our boys soccer program is one of the Saturdays we had Celine in town for an 11 a.m. start. And the boys got up early and went to the Miracle League and worked that Miracle League, came and played a soccer game. And I just couldn't believe it when the game was over. Some kids were hanging around, and they were talking more about their experience helping at the Miracle League than they were about the game that they just won. So pretty cool thing that they did and that our coach got them involved with. Our girls golf program qualified for states in Coach Bradford's last season. He is retiring after 15 years. We had the SVL Golfer of the Year, Sophia Lee, and another group that was academic all-state. Girls swim team finished second in the SVL championships. We had some school records from Amelia Millars and had some all-staters as well. Got to compete at the state championships down in Ypsilanti at Eastern Michigan, and our team finished 7th. And then these two ladies I want to highlight are the backbone of an athletic department, and these are our athletic trainers, Kayla Phillips and Amy Mativa. Always on call, always helping, always a full training room, whether it's just for kids to talk or to get treatment, but they're doing an excellent job and helping our athletes out. So I just wanted to give them a shout out on making it through the fall and then on to winter.
So Kevin doesn't know this, but I call him about every day to get some advice, but he's also pretty funny, so I just need to laugh sometimes too. So I'm not as funny as him, so I got to call him. So Midland High Athletics, just a fall recap. Picture up there is Victory Day, and I really wanted to start off with this because when we talk about educational athletics and our student athletes, we talk about belonging. I refer to extracurriculars. They're not extra, they're essential. And I think that was highlighted in our Superintendent Student Advisory Team, how they, through sports, clubs, after-school activities, part of academics, because this is part of their lives. This is essential to the school culture and to the school environment. And so Victory Day highlights how essential these curriculars are, and it really highlights our commitment in our program to commit, compete, lead together. And Victory Day, if you don't know, all of our athletes, our band, our cheer teams come out and they do athletics with our students who are accessing our ESA programming. And so it's a great day. If you ever have an opportunity, it's in next year. It's like, I want to say September 14th, somewhere around there. But it's a great thing. So I wanted to highlight that because it is about belonging. So looking at football, an improvement year, 4 and 5 finished overall, but really wanted to highlight their community involvement. Every Friday, home game Friday, they greeted elementary school students at our feeder elementary schools and our middle school. They held camps at Northeast, and then they also volunteered for the Youth Football League. Again, young team looking to improve and excited for the future that Coach Wellman and his staff are going to have next year. For volleyball, a very strong season, 27, 11, and 4. Varsity team earned all academic for MHSAA, 3.7 non-weighted, 4.1 weighted, had all-state senior academic, Lily Reckaway and Rihanna Nunemaker. Again, focusing on the community aspect. A big thing that we talk about in our athletic department is more than just our season evaluation. How are we performing academically? How are we providing, giving back to our community that's coming out to support us? And so this was another example at the Fall into Fun community event at the ARC at the Miracle Field during neighboring week. They also led their own camp in the summer, 122 participants, 3rd through 9th grade at Midland High School in the summer. Sideline cheer, again, great energy, enthusiasm, gearing up for a competitive cheer season, supporting our athletes at the football games. And they also held their own annual cheer clinic with over 100 attendees. If you were able to make it out to that Midland High game, it was awesome. The sidelines were packed, and it was just really cool to see, again, that community involvement. And then, the best way to learn is to teach, right? And so for our girls to get out and teach the younger ages, it was a great opportunity then for also to learn their skill, to learn their sport, to be able to be better and compete this winter. POM, excellent routines, engaged with the pride of Midland High, the Chemic Marching Band. They placed 5th in the medium division at the Mid-American Pom-Pom High Kick competition. And again, they're gearing up for a winter competitive season, busy season this winter. Boys tennis, very proud of our boys tennis, finished 12-1-1. 2nd overall in the SVLs, took 3rd at regionals that then qualified them for states. They finished 12th overall out of 21 schools. They also earned academic all-state in the process. Coach Pat Dalton was recognized not only as the SVL Coach of the Year, but also the Regional Coach of the Year, and then he was also the Divisional Coach for the state of Michigan. So high accolades for Coach Dalton, who's been leading that program for a couple of years now. Great individual who welcomes anyone out to his team and has a really strong culture and obviously well-earned recognitions on his behalf. But again, a strong boys tennis season this past fall. Cross country, another strong season, back-to-back SVL champs, regional championship. This was the first one since 1999. 6th place finish at the MHSA state finals, which was the highest since 1954. Another exciting, if you ever have an opportunity to go down to Michigan International Speedway, it was awesome to see all the divisions racing. I got to go experience it. It was a little cold that day, but it was just awesome to see the atmosphere and the energy around cross country. I never understood why someone runs for fun, but watching them and seeing them perform, it was awesome. It was a great opportunity to see our kids enjoying what they love to do. And I just watched. They're not practicing, but they're training right now in the summertime or in the wintertime. Watching them run outside, it's awesome. 4 individuals recognized as academic all-state: Elliot King, Logan Gesford, Cameron Cochran, Luke James, and then also Andrew Plude was also recognized as the SVL's Coach of the Year. Girls cross country, successful season. Caitlin Berg, freshman, qualified for states. They also had community outreach with the MPS Elementary Fun Run, which is another amazing opportunity over in Stratford Park over there, put on by the girls cross country and the boys cross country team. And again, their improvement season, Coach Dodick was really proud of the girls that came out and competed and really building that program to get to the next level. Boys soccer, another building season, 10 and 14 and 4. Had 12 out of 14 eligible athletes win all-state academic awards, as well as 5 freshmen on the team. So we're seeing improvement in that program and look forward to the progress that they're going to make next year. Girls golf, Lauren Deckrow qualified for states. Also, Coach John is stepping down, so Dow's High's losing a girls golf coach. We're losing a girls golf coach, so we get to compete who's going to get the candidate. But 7 years as head coach, he's going to still coach the boys. Great individual, really well respected by the team. I know the girls are bummed, but we're going to find somebody who's going to again be a good fit for our students and take them to the next level and build those character skills. Girls swim and dive, very proud of the progress and the competition level this year. State qualifiers, Jenna Seibert, Maddie Hushke, Sarah Graham, Lainey Ringgold, Mary Doan, and Mary Riddle. Got to go down to Eastern Michigan and watch them swim. Again, it's just awesome. Like, when we talk about educational athletics, like being able to stand back and, you know, you're invested because we got our kids there performing, but then being able to kind of just stand back and watch parents support, the community support, people traveling down, the girls or whoever's performing at that time or competing. It's just a really cool environment. Educational athletics are very special. And so being able to share in that and lead individuals in that, it's very cool. And this is a great example that I got to witness down at the state qualifier or state finals. Going to highlight our athletic trainers too, like Kevin said, backbone. They saw 88 individuals or athletes this past fall. So those were the ones that they either followed up on a medical report, conducted, or provided support. We had 2 interns, Allie and Evan, who are here for the fall, and then we're getting 2 Central Michigan interns joining us in January again. But a great asset to our department who keep our kids healthy. And like Kevin said, there's sometimes the individuals that are coming to us saying, hey, this individual is experiencing this at home. Let's follow up with the counselor or something. Like, that's the type of relationships they're building with kids. It's awesome to see. They're just another support for our students. All right, so we got a couple MHSAA and SVL updates. I'll just kind of start with the participation. So MHSAA, 8th in the U.S. overall for participants. When we look at participants, I'll just talk about the chemics. This past fall, we had 353 students participate in a sport. 212 of those students were 2-sport athletes, so meaning they're going to either play a winter or a spring sport, and then 85 of them are 3 sports, so they're going to play all 3. And so compared to last year, we've gained some participants, up from 346.
And Dow High, pretty much the same thing, 390 participants this fall, and registered-wise, 2-sport athletes, 204 and 81 that are 3-sport athletes, so we're up from 328 last year. And, that's kind of, if you've been tracking with the MHSAA, those increases are occurring throughout the state. So kids are getting involved, which is a really good thing to see.
The other thing we have up there is our emergency action plan. So this was initiated last year. Both the athletic directors at both high schools were proactive, knowing this was coming down from the MHSAA, but this is required to have an action plan in place for all of our facilities wherever our students participate, meaning that who's going to call 911, who's starting CPR, who's grabbing the AED. And so all of our athletic teams are required to have this on file. They're also required to have an AED with them, which we are very fortunate to have AEDs with all of our teams, whether it's a home or traveling. They carry a little yellow go bag, which again, it's better prepared to make sure that we're there for our students when we need to be in a moment's notice. And so that's something that was new this year that we were proactive on. And the same thing with our CPR and AED certification. This was reliant on the state passing a budget. In MHSAA, part of that budget was that all coaches, not just head coaches, but all coaches required to be CPR and AED certified. Again, taking the proactive approach, we pushed our coaches to do that before the state budget was passed. And so, if not all of them, about 95, 99% are certified in CPR, first aid, and AED. So again, head of the curve, because that's not required by the MHSAA yet, but it probably will be next fall now that the funding has been released. And I'll turn it over to Kevin for SVL updates.
Yep, so being new to the SVL, this is also something that the league decided to do, and we've come in and seen a lot of positive comments about it. So the SVL has started some in-season tournaments in select sports, so volleyball, soccer, we're doing it in basketball, and then we get out in the spring, baseball, softball, and soccer as well. But pretty much going through and then using the South Division and, kind of creating a tournament within to decide the SVL champion. So like right now, if you look at our basketball schedules, there's an open spot, and we'll see what what place everybody's in, and then we'll play a crossover, and we'll have a championship game. So that's a lot of positive comments coming from coaches regarding that. Obviously, officials, we're always looking for them. We've been very fortunate. I think our signers have done a nice job for Midland Public and taking care of Midland and Dow as far as getting officials, but we're always looking. And then, back to our athletic trainers again. This fall kind of was put in the spotlight, not everyone having and being as fortunate of having an athletic trainer. So there's some schools in our league that are looking, but a majority of our schools do have it. So when our kids go on the road, we know that there's care in case of emergency. So that's pretty much, where's the clicker? You have the clicker, click it. All right. That's pretty much our fall recap, and we're open to any questions.
Thank you, guys. One of the things that one of the big takeaways I have from sports today is compared to when I was in high school, there's so much more community involvement. And I think also youth involvement, right? And trying to attract, elementary age students into the sport and get them into a pipeline. And it really has turned our athletic fields and facilities into the largest classroom we have. And I think that came through in your presentation. That's really the goal of what you're trying to do with athletics. But it's also not lost on me that it's like a third of our students participate. How do we get it to half or 2/3? What's the one or two things you guys would change?
Not necessarily change, but I guess, well, we did one change is that we are introducing, and it'll be a small amount at this point, but we're adding boys volleyball. So there are some MHSA sports that we can look at, adding girls field hockey. There are other things coming down the road that MHSA is looking at as well. Now, I think it just needs to be, what is the fit and what is the demand, and do we have that demand and space and facility and coaches and all that. But, there are other sports that are, coming down the pipeline that may get kids' interest.
I'd say one thing I keep coming back to is just relationships, like continuing to get our coaches in the building. We're fortunate to have some of our coaches that are on staff that can, that are in the building relationships, but continuing to try to find opportunities for our coaches to just get in front of kids and just talk with kids, whether that's just coming in at lunch if their work allows, or just relationships and building that trust, because I think that's what kind of starts to pull some kids who are maybe hesitant or unsure, knowing who the adult is and feeling comfortable with that adult to then come out and try something new. And so that's just kind of what I've kind of started to kind of think about was how do we get our adults who are great coaches, but how do we start to get them into the community, into the school events, whether it's not during the school day, but even after school events, just get them in front of kids and working with kids, because then those are our magnets right there that are going to pull kids out.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Do you think that at our schools currently, finances are ever a concern for our students, and that's perhaps why they don't participate?
No, we're very blessed with a lot of community support individuals in the community, organizations in the community that we have funds at our school that support that. I always tell kids all the time, financials is never going to be a barrier to you participating, and tell your friends all that. Like you're never going to have a barrier to participating in anything at this school, because that shouldn't be a barrier. And so I think we can always do better at like advertising that and getting out there. But again, just getting that messaging and continuing to let kids know that and families know too, that there's supports in place to make sure that you can compete, you can come out and belong. But yes, we're very fortunate to have a lot of individuals who support us in that endeavor.
I hope one thing that you feel tonight is, well, first off, you look sharp. Thanks for not showing up in what you normally wear to the game. Two newer members of our team, both new to their positions this year, and just incredibly proud of how they collaborate. I heard you say that you talk almost every day, and I think this is a great example of where we can have, a healthy rivalry across town, but know that we are one team in the end. So I really appreciate the collaboration you two have. And I hope what you felt tonight was this sense that, of course, we want to win, and we are very proud of our wins, but we care more about how athletics help shape our students and how they help shape in a positive way our school community. And you both are in it for all the right reasons. So thank you so much for your collaboration and leadership.
I think to add to that, in answer to your question, Phil, I think that something that we can enhance and grow is our participation in middle school sports is going to have a flow through into more participation at the high school level. They just can't show up in grade 9. It's got to be before that, and we've got to address that and cater to that, and maybe invest additionally into that in the future. I know you're both new your roles, but you are very invested in those. So what can we do as a board? What can we do to help you? How can we improve athletics at Dow High School and Midland High School as a Board of Education?
Well, I just, and I think you just alluded to it a little bit there, is having that mindset of what can we do, not just at the high school level, but from the lower, and then how do we collaborate and how do we get the word out when we look at improving, certain things and working with groups, just understanding that we're not only, maybe doing a project for our sports team, but they're doing this because it's also a big piece of our community. So, those type of improvements and just kind of, I guess, keep advertising, keep talking. Sports are a good thing.
I think kind of mimic what Kevin said, and continuing with the strategic planning and the facilities. I know that's been a big conversation with us, is just looking at the facilities and the opportunities that we can provide not only our students with facility improvements, but also the community by bringing in, hosting districts, hosting regionals, that type of stuff. It just provides opportunities for our kids to compete at those levels, because we have teams going to districts and regionals, but be able to do it in their backyard, but then also be able to support the Midland community as well. So I think just that endeavor, that support, along with what Kevin said.
Have you met Stephen over there? Yes. Good. I think you guys need to have some ongoing conversations as well.
Quite a bit.
We will.
Quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We actually did our facility assessment at the community stadium on our snow day. So, yeah.
It was enjoyable.
We all got our boots on and went for a walk.
Made memories.
Great.
Well, thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Taylor, I'm going to email you for that picture of my kid, too.
Okay. Sounds good.
Item 3.4, give a brief update on strategic planning. That still is ongoing, so I hope that you've all had an opportunity to participate either in the survey or in one of the focus groups, or both, hopefully both. To date, we've had over 2,000 touch points, and then in January, we will get a more comprehensive update from Omnitech at that time and continue down the process. And then Facility planning, I'm going to keep it short because actually I'm going to defer to Stephen, who is item number 3.5 for a facility planning update. Welcome.
Thanks. All right, cool. So today we're just going to circle back to some of the stuff we talked about last month, kind of where we've been, where we're going, what it means for you, and also try and introduce some ways of how we can think about as these facilities are replaced, like what does that mean for me? Like how can I make a direct link to what that means? So where we've been, the month of December has been busy for the entire team. The facilities and bond planning team finishes up the assessments on the 17th. The GMB team is pretty well all set, and we'll get to a slide that shows where they've been to in all the buildings so far. When we move into January, that's when our construction manager partners, Clark Construction, will start doing their estimating of these facility assessments. A large chunk of the middle of January will also be spent on the educational assessment that'll be completed by GMB. And then our full team has a meeting scheduled for mid-January to touch base. When we get into February, there'll be the continuation of the facility assessment estimating, so we can get some good numbers for that. But we also want to start introducing and having and leading some steering committee meetings. So these steering committee meetings will be a regular touch point through this pre-bond planning, and really lean on that steering committee to help develop what the scope of this bond will be and get that steering committee to have the full buy-in, with the ultimate hope that that steering committee is actually presenting the bond scope to you guys. They're fully invested in it. They understand what it's going to be, and they're passionate about, what it's going to include. For the Board of Education, you guys do have some responsibilities along the way. Through, the next few months, there'll be regular updates to the Board of Ed, so you guys have a full understanding of what's going on. When we get into May, that's when we really need the board. The board needs to vote at the May meeting for the approval of the scope, because that'll help us finalize the PQ app, which will be meeting with the state in June. So meeting with Treasury has been scheduled. Should there be a bond, we want to get that meeting locked in sooner rather than later. So that is locked in for mid-June so that the board can approve the PQ app at the June board meeting. And then in August, the board responsibility would be to approve the language that would go on the ballot. And then, everybody supporting this bond through September, October, and voting in November. Facility assessment as a whole, it's a big team effort. There is a lot of people. I think one day there was just the CA team scattered themselves across 4 or 5 different buildings at one time with support of 4 or 5 individuals from the district, to cover all the elementary schools at one time that they were here. So for the facilities and bond planning team, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be completed with all of those Wednesday of this week. The CA and architecture team, they've gone through all the educational facilities in the district so far. They're going to finish up, actually this afternoon, coordinated schedules. They're going to finish up all the auxiliary buildings like central office and the stadiums and maintenance and grounds. They're going to do that actually next Monday. Mike is going to assist them with that. The MEP team has gone through all of their assessments. They're fully through the district. Site and Civil really loves when they can see the ground and it's not covered with snow. So the early snowfall has kind of put a little bit of a hindrance on them. They have gotten for sure to both middle schools and the adjacent elementary schools, but they will be back out once we start to get a snow thaw to start seeing stuff a little bit clearer. So I think sometimes it's hard for individuals who aren't in the building industry to always relate to, like, what does it mean when we're replacing an HVAC system? Or what does it mean if, the structure is deficient? And how do those things age in the same way that I might be able to relate to it? So, just like we as human beings, we have lungs and we have veins that move stuff throughout our bodies. Well, there's mechanical equipment and HVAC systems that do similar stuff. There's skin, our own skin. There's also envelopes for buildings. There's the skeletal system in the same way there's a structural system. And as we as humans age, just buildings age in the same way. They get tired. And so these are some analogies that you can think of, as you kind of like think through what that means for you. And I think the kind of the key ones are like, do you have as much energy as you did when you were 5 or when you were 10? I mean, I have a 1-year-old and I do not have the same amount of energy as he does. But like, I'm, in my mid-30s. I'm not 65, 70, 100 years old yet. And so I don't have that same amount of energy. And I think it sounds silly to say this, but to some extent, think of like Donnie and Marie Osmond and Dolly Parton. Really, really good at keeping stuff looking exactly the same on the outside. But on the inside, it's all the same. The guts, the stuff that you don't see, is still aging. It's still getting tired. It still needs to be replaced. So hopefully that kind of helps bring some real world examples as we kind of talk about some of this stuff, about how you can relate to it. Any questions or discussions?
Can I chime in on a couple of things here? So the steering team, we had talked before about forming a steering team, and we're in the process of putting that together. It will have broad representation, and we look forward to that team helping guide us through this process. I think when you look at the timeline that Stephen offered, many of those steps along the way look familiar to us because it's similar to what we did before. And I just want to remind us that we, out of the gate, have said that we were putting our sights toward this November 26th date. Brad, you asked the question during the interviews, but before we selected the firms we're working with, that if at any point along the way we feel that we're not ready for that, we have opportunities to step aside and not proceed. But the responsible thing to do, knowing these timelines with the state, and with our attorney being involved, we needed to set those dates and schedule that meeting with the Department of Treasury. So I just want to make it clear that we're doing everything we need to do to be ready should the board ultimately make that decision. But at any point along the way, the board could decide to take a different route. And as someone who is getting older, I appreciate your analogy. Yeah.
I have a question. The May meeting, when you talked about the scope that the board will have to make a decision on, can you tell us a little bit more about what that looks like, and then also what sort of information the board will have available from your assessments prior to that meeting?
So prior to that meeting, we'll have the facility assessment fully completed. So we'll have the whole document that identifies, what are the 0 to 3, 5 to 10, 10 plus years things that need to start being put together into place. And those will be incorporated into what the bond, with the steering committee and the bond team, to try and develop what of those are specifically put into this bond and what are we going to plan for in the future. For that May meeting, it's just identifying specifically like what items are going to be put into this bond, because all of that needs to be documented for the meeting with Treasury. So that'll include all of the individual items, like are you adding a cafeteria addition? Are you, renovating so many thousands of square foot in this building? Are you replacing HVAC systems in this building, with dollar amounts associated to all of those items?
And remind me again, how long, obviously things can change with schedules, but how long prior to that meeting do you anticipate being complete with your report?
We haven't set a deliverable timeline for the facility assessment. It's going to be contingent on the snow for the site and civil team, so that's fully complete. So the facility assessment stuff, I would say early Q1 of next year, that'll all be complete from the facility assessment side. The steering committee will then be, brainstorming the ideas of what's going to happen, what do they want to see in the district, all of those things. Their timeline of leading all the time up to that point, but with regular touch-ins with you guys, so that you guys have the ability to discuss what it is going to be included. Is there more information? Is that good? Or, oh.
Anything else? Well, Stephen, thank you for the comprehensive update. Look forward to the next one.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is item 4, request to address the board. Ahead of time, had Joe Bonady sign up first. Welcome.
Greetings. First, thank you. My wife and I enjoyed a nice dinner with the $53 you reduced our MPS bond debt overage. The reduction to moderate from gross levels of money into your savings account let another $1.37 million remain in the local economy this season. And I would urge all taxpayers to spend that refund at a local establishment, preferably as cash. The Omnitech listening sessions are done. I look forward to the report, but I'm not sure why the students have 2 extra weeks to participate. And I regret that the survey did not have a little more demographic information like, are you a voter in MPS? With the encouragement of using the survey multiple times to feed information to Omnitech, it would be good to know how many unique IP addresses participated. Understanding what the total participant number really means would be useful. Speaking of that first survey, there was one critical piece of data that the public does not have when considering the state of MPS, and that is the student headcount. MCL 388.1701 says you sent it to the state 5 weeks after generating it, so the data does exist. However, the state is not going to publish it until mid-2026. Do you really want to keep it a secret that long while key processes are ongoing? I've seen an adjacent district publish the results, Meridian, and its growth has closed school choice slots. And some of your elite comparison schools, for example, Northville, have had the results out by the end of September. I think it only appropriate that the GMB survey process has this data, as one can have no idea about facilities unless you have an idea of how many kids will be in the system. Let me tell you what some of the possible consequences of not being transparent in this area might be. Given that you have opened many school choice slots for the second semester, with the first semester load already in the system, it looks like you have lost a number of students. While it is wonderful to your bottom line to get more per student money from the state for any student coming in from out of district, the taxpayers of MPS are not in the business of building schools for people not contributing on the millage side. Finally, MPS did not pay for an election in November for a sinking fund while claiming maintenance was important and needed. There are 4 free elections in 2026, February, May, August, and November. If the timeline for another mega bond is not conducive to being ramrodded into November 2026, how about an interest-free sinking fund? Several of your elite comparison schools have both sinking fund and capital bond projects. Another $6 to $9 million of interest-free money per year could go a long way to keeping the wheels on. Thank you.
Good evening, Nita Bonadies. I just finished the book, The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, and earlier the book, The Coddling of the American Mind by Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt. Both of these books speak about the mental health crisis in the young people in our country and others around the world. I did this because of my concern over what I'm seeing and hearing in the education system and the condition of the young people. Things are very different from when I was in school several years ago and when my children were in school. There were certainly issues of mental health back then, but not at the degree that they exist today. These 2 books and a couple others I've read speak to these concerns and possible solutions. What are our schools doing to be part of the solution, and what may they be doing to be part of the problem? Does the school day help to relieve the pressure and stresses that children bring to school with them? Also, how does the movement from face-to-face learning with printed materials and moving to a computer-based teaching and learning environment impact these issues of mental health, especially depression and anxiety? These books present a lot of research that shows the need for more personal interactions between students and the need for more play-based learning in all grades, but especially the elementary grades. At last month's meeting, there was a presentation on play invitations at Plymouth Elementary. It was described as a unique experience that only occurs in 2nd grade at Plymouth. A few of the student comments included, you get energy out and you get to play with friends, and it means we're special because no other grades get to do it. So this was begun in fall 2023 as a play-based learning initiative. It has been very successful from the reporting we heard. Comments about the students, they're definitely getting ready to learn and learning to learn while they're playing. Allows them to grow as a team, not just as second grade, but beyond. And we're building their person as well as their learning. This sounds like a terrific way for young students to start their day. So I have a few questions. Why would a program that has been so successful only be available to one grade and at one school? Why wouldn't we want all students to have the ability to start their day or even early in their day have this stress relief and free playtime to learn and grow? Is there a reason only this group of teachers is challenged to incorporate such a program in the learning day? Why not have this accessible and part of all the elementary classes, or at least K-2 at all of the elementary buildings? Finally, I would like to thank Sarah Dooley for helping to get the agenda packets online in a single document format. There's an issue with phone accessibility, but it's great to be able to download it. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Okay. Item 5 is curriculum instruction and assessment. Item 5.1 are the study committee meeting minutes from November.
The Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Study Committee meeting was on November 17th. Members present were myself, Brad Blasey, Mackie Craig, Ken Weaver, Penny Miller-Nelson, along with Kim Funnell and Joy Yang Zhao as guests. We met here at the administration building. The meeting started at 1:30. Ken Weaver presented on current curriculum instruction and assessment policies and procedures, lots of policies and procedures. Kim Funnell presented a report on the 2025 summer school program across the district. Ken also updated the committee on the 2025-26 members of the Sex Education Advisory Board, or the SEAB. And then finally, we had a presentation from Joy Yang Yao in regards to family engagement activities that took place in September and October across the district. The meeting adjourned at 2:45, and you will hear next month about our meeting today.
Thanks, Jen. Item 6, finance, facilities, and operations. Item 6.1, FFO study committee meeting minutes from December 1st.
FFO Study Committee met December 1st, 5 o'clock here at the administration building. Members present were myself, John Lauterbach, Mackie Craig, Penny Miller-Nelson, Brian Bruton, and Anna Womack. No guests were present for that meeting. We covered October financials were reviewed. The committee discussed the district's partnership with the Greater Midland Community Center. The committee received an update on the sale of the Dower Street property. The committee discussed municipal separate storm sewer systems requirements. The committee discussed the organizational chart of the Facilities Department of MPS. The committee discussed the facilities assessment that is ongoing. And the committee discussed district strategic planning that is ongoing. Meeting adjourned at 6:10.
Thanks, Brad. For the next few, we're going to have Brian tag in for Anna as she's out sick, but item 6.2 for action, Dower Street property sale resolution. Brian.
Back in April of 2024, the board approved the purchase agreement with the Habitat for Humanity organization for a purchase price of $250,000 for the Dower Street property. It's been a little bit of a journey for us to be able to get to this point, but we're excited to say that we are within a couple of weeks, it looks like, of closing, and one of the documents that is necessary to complete that closing from our title agent Superior is the resolution before you, which will give Penny and Phil the authority to get us to closing, should there need to be any changes, and also to sign all of the official documents for us to be able to finally close on this property.
Thanks, Brian.
Yes, sir.
And remember, for the board, this is a piece of property, and then our team and building trades will have 10 years to build up to 14 homes with Habitat. So an awesome partnership in our community. the action is, again, the resolution as posted in your agenda packet is to empower Penny and myself to close on behalf of the board. Is there a motion for item 6.2 on the sale of the Dower Street property?
I move to approve the resolution authorizing execution of closing and related documents for the sale of 2900 Dower Street.
Support.
Motion by Ringgold, support by Craig. Any further discussion or questions? This does require a roll call vote. Jen, can you do that for us, please?
Absolutely. President Roush.
Support.
Secretary Ringgold supports. Trustee Blasey.
Support.
Trustee Craig.
Support.
Trustee Horowitz.
Support.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Item 6.3 for action, gifts totaling $27,800. Brian.
Thank you. Because of the size of these very generous gifts, there are 4 items that need your approval this evening, but it's just one approval vote that's needed. The first is an $8,300 donation from the parents of the Dow High hockey team to support that team's operations, an $8,000 donation from the Dow High Music Boosters to support the bands of Dow High, a $6,000 donations from Calvin Getters to support drones and drone accessories, and then an additional $5,500 donation from the Dow High Sports Boosters to support their Huddle software.
Thank you, Brian. Do I have a motion to approve item 6.3, gifts?
I move to accept the gifts totaling $27,800.
Support.
Motion by Horowitz, support by Blasey. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of approving item 6.3, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and thank you to those making the generous donations. Item 6.4 for information gifts. Brian?
Thank you. On behalf of the board administration, this is for information only, and we wish to express our gratitude for the 23 gifts listed in the agenda, totaling $16,687.12. They represent a very wide range of items, from support for multiple athletic items, supports for co-curricular clubs, and events such as Kindness Week. And per our traditions, each donor will be recognized in the credits of this evening's broadcast and also through board correspondence.
Thanks, Brian. And then finally, item 6.5, gifts of monetary value.
Yep, thank you. There are 2 gifts this evening, again for information only, and we wish to express the same gratitude to the JPAC, or Jefferson Parent Advisory Committee, for donating over 60 books for use of the Jefferson Media Center at a value of $1,300, and then to the Marker Board People Company for donating marker boards to science classes at Midland High, valued at just over $1,200. Our thanks to those organizations.
Thanks, Brian. Item 7, correspondence from the Board of Education to the following individuals or organizations is listed in your agenda packet. Item 8 are scheduled activities for information. All regular meetings and special meetings will begin at 7 p.m. at the MPS Administration Center unless otherwise noted. I do note that we are planning in January to actually have 2 regular meetings, so we will get that posted first thing tomorrow morning publicly and update all of our information on the website. But the January 5th right now is scheduled as an organizational meeting and communications workshop for our board. And then really what that does is January 20th was looking at being pretty packed agenda. And rather than rush through stuff, Penny and I had decided that it would probably be much better for us to spend our time and have 2 meetings so that at the January 20th meeting, we can get a more comprehensive strategic planning update from Leanne Keller at that point from Omnitech. So we'll get those posted in the morning. Everything else in item 8 is listed as our traditional third Monday of the month. Item 9, studies. Yes, because it's a holiday. You're right. Thank you, Brad. Number 9, study session discussion. Are there any points of clarification or additional questions that any board members may have? I do want to wish those in the audience here and those listening at home a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and other holidays coming up. It's a time of the year that we obviously reflect on what a fortunate situation we are in Midland to have such a great public school system, but also a time to relax. Students are preparing for exams this week, and they'll have a full 2 weeks off. But yeah, wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and holiday season. So I'll turn it over to Penny.
Just a couple of updates. When we had our board meeting and the audit was presented, it was shared that our single audit was not finalized because we were waiting on some federal compliance supplements. And I want you to know that that has been resolved and our audit is finalized and on file. It is posted on the website for the public as well, and there were no changes from what was presented to the board at that public meeting. We are continuing to work on our academic calendar for next school year. Brian is leading that team along with the MCEA and progressing in those discussions, and we hope to have a calendar as soon as that committee works through their process. Similarly, wishing everyone well this exam week. We have lots of students who are studying. You know, we were in classes today for our curriculum study committee, and exams were part of that topic of discussion as well. And I echo your sentiments, Phil, for everyone to have a wonderful holiday season. I want to just note, we sent a letter to our school community about the 31AA grant for mental health and school safety. And there have been a lot of conversations in the media about this grant. Since that letter, the Michigan Department of Education issued guidance that all school districts should indeed opt in by the deadline. So we did take that recommendation and opted into the grant. I want to make it clear that they have also provided an off-ramp. So there is pending litigation in federal and state courts. Those decisions are expected this Friday. And based on that decision, a school district still has an opportunity to withdraw their application for those grant funds. We are following this story carefully and will take action accordingly based on either of those courts' decisions. And the crux of that is the constitutionality of forcing districts to waive their attorney-client privilege. So trust that we, even though it's over winter break when all of that will come out and we'll need to make the decision, know that we're following that carefully and we'll proceed accordingly. Otherwise, great time to reflect on a great semester 1. And we're looking forward to starting semester 2 strong and having more of these wonderful board presentations for you where you can engage with students and our staff. That's all I have.
Thanks, Penny. To inform the public, item 10 is our Superintendent Penny's personal evaluation for the year. Under law, she has requested that we do that in closed session. And then we will come back out and take action on the superintendent's evaluation, as well as the board will consider renewing and extending her contract as well. So you are welcome to come back after that closed session, but wanted to make sure that everybody's on the same page with how we're going to handle the next couple items. So item number 10, closed session, it does require a roll call vote. Could I have somebody make a motion as written, please?
Move as written in 10.1 to move into closed session for consideration of superintendent's personnel evaluation as permitted under MCL 15.268, Section 8A.
Support.
Motion by Ringgold, support by Horowitz. Again, this does require a roll call vote. Jen?
Yes. President Roush.
Yes.
Secretary Ringgold is a yes. Trustee Blasey.
Yes.
Trustee Craig.
Yes.
Trustee Horowitz.
Yes.
We are in closed session.
Thanks.
Just went green.
Yeah, I have it all stated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you are reading it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. All right, well, welcome back to the open session. Item number 11 for action is a superintendent's evaluation. Note that we went through the state-provided rubric as well as mid-year goal review. The rubric will be posted on our website for the public to review, but from a high level, we reviewed governance and board relations as a category. Board has a summative evaluation on that category of 3. Community relations was also a 3. Staff relations was 2.85. Business and finance came out as a evaluation of a 3. Instructional leadership was a 3, which results in an overall rating of 2.98 out of a total score of 3 for the summative evaluation. I do note, overall feedback and some opportunities for improvement are listed in each of the categories comprehensively. Comments by the Board of Education. In summary, our Penny has continued to deliver outcomes for MPS students, staff, families, and the greater community. She is present, engaged in the learning environment, and connected to the community. Penny is leading the MPS community through strategic planning effectively to gain even more stakeholder engagement. MPS is an exciting place to be a student, staff member, and parent. We collectively have work to do in pushing the district from a top 5% statewide district to a top 1%, but we will do this together with Penny's leadership and determination. So congratulations, Penny. May I have an action to approve Penny's evaluation and mid-year goal review?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Ringgold, support by Craig. Any further discussion or comments, questions?
Just say thank you. And thank you also to being open to everything that we have to share with you as well.
All in favor of approving Penny's evaluation and mid-year goal review, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. As part of Penny's contract with MPS, clause 1.3 is extension of term. Upon an effective rating, the board shall consider extending the contract by 1 year. The only term in the contract that we are amending as a proposal for the board to consider would be item 5.1, which lays out the superintendent's salary schedule, an increase of 1.5% in the base salary out to June 30th of 2030. May I get a motion to approve the 1-year extension of Penny's contract?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Horowitz, support by Ringgold. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of approving the 1-year extension of Penny's contract, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Takes us to item 13.
Can I just jump in 30 seconds or less to say thank you? I think you all know it's a team effort, and we have an incredible team. even though they left me tonight, the folks who normally sit over there, as well as all of our administrators, teachers, paras, bus drivers, maintenance, anyone. It's a real team effort. So thank you for trusting me to continue leading this team.
Thanks. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Adjourned.
With like seconds.